I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, January 16th, 2018 meeting of the City of Monona Finance and Personnel Committee. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Wood.
Here.
Mayor O'Connor.
Here.
Alder Holmquist is excused.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the January 2nd meeting?
So moved.
I will second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. There are no appearances. There is no unfinished business. New business, 6A, consideration of Resolution 18-1-2234, amending the 2018 operating budget for a full-time administrative assistant in the Parks and Recreation Department, put forth by the Parks and Recreation Director. And Jake, I gave, Doug and I each have a copy of the numbers based on an increase of $18 an hour and or a salary of $18 an hour and a salary of $16 an hour.
Sure. Do you want to talk about this here, or do you want to wait till council? Does it?
Mark, are you going to be at council?
Yeah, I'll be at council.
Okay. What do you think, Doug?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for one thing, it's, otherwise, we're gonna be out of here way before the council
Right.
meeting.
I guess if you want to explain, I think
Sure.
Doug has some questions and.
Yeah, so basically with a retirement in our department, it is the fourth person in 4 years that is either resigned or retired from this permanent part-time administrative assistant position. And all along, at least long-range planning for me for the department would be a full-time admin person that would be basically our office manager to handle all the administrative duties. The time frame that I can't quantify in a dollar amount that it takes to train a person in this position, the opportunity cost for the time that our recreation supervisor has to spend training this person gets to be a little too much to handle when it's this kind of consistent year and a half type of employment with one person. So we requested through April and Mayor O'Connor, at least for a consideration among the council, to look at making this position full-time. The reason why we're doing it now instead of during, I guess, the 2019 operating budget process is we can hire someone permanent, part-time, or refill this position now, and then if this position would get approved during the budget process, they might not be the candidate with the best skill set. And so I don't think it's necessarily fair to hire someone right away and then say, well, this position might go full-time and you're welcome to apply for it, but you may not be the best qualified candidate even with 6 months of experience, and then we've trained one person and now we got to train someone else. So we're looking at this given both our current workload and what our expected workload is moving forward with developments of existing projects and future projects. So that's kind of where we're at with this proposal. I utilize the wage structure based on area comps from Park and Rec departments for administrative assistants, and then also a little bit in between some of our, what I would say, comparable positions within the city.
And you currently have two 4.48 positions, right? That
Correct.
comprise one
Correct,
full-time
yeah, so
position.
basically the schedule is like one person works Monday, Tuesday, every other Friday, the other person works Wednesday, Thursday, every other Friday. And that .48 is they leave at like 2:30 on Friday. So we didn't quite get 100% coverage during previous operating budgets, but it was an increase. And when I first started, I had just 1.48 position maybe. And a lot's changed since then, including the dynamics and the responsibilities of that position, including marketing, social media, website updates, coordination with existing user groups, event planners, staff, summer staff, seasonal staff, full-time staff. So it's really kind of the air traffic controller of our department, and we ask them to do a lot in the time that they're there. And so I think it's a position with some consistency would really be beneficial to our department, and especially, you know, our rec supervisor / aquatics director that just you know, there's a cost to not being able to do other things or higher level, opportunities that we might have when we're constantly retraining someone.
And just one thing, and then I know Alderwood has some questions. Your current plan was to take, you would have one person in the position, just half-time doing that position, or .48.
Correct.
Then the other person in that position, you had planned that you have this new position for a after-school care coordinator.
Correct.
The after-school care part of that will be funded by parent user fees. And then you were going to take the other .48 position and combine that with this, so you'd have one person doing half after-school care, half
Administrative assistant,
half
correct.
the other half of the administrative
Correct.
assistant. So this is actually another half of a position that we're adding, correct? Because right now you have 1.5, say, positions, and this, if you get this approved, that will mean you'll have
It'll be like
two positions, right? Because
going
it's-
from .96 to 2.
Right, but I'm saying the daycare, after-school care / assistant, that's one full-time position, and then the current position that Pam is in is .48. So
Right.
you have 1.5
Right.
positions, and if we approve this, you'll have 2,
Correct,
correct?
right.
I
And
think
then,
that's what I was asking you last week,
Yeah,
and you
I
said
was-
no.
I think I was understanding
I
what
thought
you're
later,
asking.
am
Yeah.
I crazy, or no?
And so that changes the dynamics a little bit then of our after-school / rec coordinator position.
Right.
To the good of being able to concentrate not only on the after-school program, which is gonna be a heavy focus in a lot of planning, but also our recreation programs, which then shifts the organizational department a little bit, allows Missy to focus more on special events and planning new special events, which will be happening at Schluter and Bridge Road and, you know, down the road Riverfront. So she would be able to take over more of these special events and everything that goes with them. The after-school person, without having to do the administrative things every day, can then take on recreational responsibilities that Missy's currently doing, and our administrative assistant then would be handling all the registration, reservations, building contracts, marketing, et cetera.
So will the after-school person be 50% after-school, 50% other?
Rec,
I'm
yeah,
just thinking
rec
about the
slash.
funding.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's coverage for vacation and sick time of the administrative assistant, and during our peak periods, they would be back up on the phones and, you know, the counter for that position. But, you know, the first year, you know, as they're building a new program and kind of developing that curriculum and hiring LTE staff, it's gonna shed more towards, the after-school, and as Missy would kind of train that person on how our recreation programs run, she would kind of gradually turn over the supervision of these.
Because in the summer, they'll be doing more recreation.
Correct. The summer, that is where the challenge is now is, you know, I've got parks and park projects that occupy the majority of my time. Missy's got the pool, and then we have a rec division that is hit or miss on who can help, you know, who can supervise the staff and help with those programs. So that's where this after-school rec coordinator would be.
When you come to council, I'd like you to explain all
Sure.
that too. Doug?
Yeah, so just to follow up on that first, so 9 months of the year, basically, that, the combined rec, after-school program person would be focused they would spend most of their time doing the after-school program?
If the administrative assistant is approved full-time,
Right,
yes, yeah. I mean, for that school year, a majority of their time is gonna be, you know, curriculum development, parent communication, ordering of supplies, detailing what is gonna need to happen during that week, coordinating with staff. I anticipate, though, that this transition of other recreation duties would happen potentially sooner rather than later. So this would be the coordination of our youth sports programs, basketball, flag football, soccer, which Misty currently does now. But as we start to focus on existing facilities that have been upgraded and new facilities that are are being created, then Missy's responsibilities are gonna lie in the special events and the planning that goes along with that have increased programs. So in my head, that's how I see things going. I mean, we all share in certain responsibilities with the operation of the department and depending on what the particular program is. So, there was, with that after-school position having administrative assistant duties, the thought is that there would be time during the day that they were serving in that function that they could still do after-school planning and prep, The phone rings a lot, but it doesn't ring constantly. And so there are periods where even our admin assistants now are working on, marketing, communication with various groups. So they have other duties in that job that aren't just front counter responsibilities.
Right. And the retirement you referenced, that was, as I understand it, was somewhat unexpected?
Yeah, unexpected to me. I mean,
Right.
it wasn't necessarily something I was planning on this year or was communicated. I think it was a, family decision by Pam.
Yeah. Because I am kind of troubled by that it wasn't, that the request for the additional halftime position wasn't in your 2018 budget request.
Yeah,
But here we are,
right.
just, a month after or less after we approved the budget.
Yeah.
And
I was
But making
notified
us-
in late December, early January, and so
yeah,
it, obviously, if we time these things out that happen,
Right.
during the course of a operating budget, I don't think it's anything, trying to sneak in or anything like that. It's just more of, if this is a scenario in which the council is agreeable to, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to wait 9 months to the start of a new budget cycle. And right now we're stuck with, we're gonna be stuck with one former intern, and at that point, she could be gone at any time. So we're gonna have a period of time as it exists now where we're gonna have, just me and Missy are gonna have to figure something out for coverage of the office.
will she be working full-time?
No,
Or,
our,
so the retirement hasn't happened yet, or has it?
no, 25th. It's effective at the end of the month here.
Okay, so then you would have a couple of months then with just halftime.
Correct. Yeah, this
Position
is as far back as I can push it and be realistic about maintaining, coverage.
Right,
Also, the fact that we would be training 2 people at the same time on our software system and policies and website. It's a little bit easier for Missy to have 2 people in hearing the same thing
Oh.
than
yeah,
doing them at different times.
true, yeah. So you already have somebody a halftime, in that other halftime position, who's a former intern, and
Correct.
said she might leave at any time, or she might not, I don't know. So what,
Correct, yeah, we will hang on to her as long as she's willing to continue to work those hours. She's a recent college grad and applying for full-time, positions, and
right, so how does that work with the plan to combine the rec position with that?
yeah, so
Yeah.
if it gets approved as of April 1st, there won't be any more hours in that role that she's serving at right now. So it's just it's a LTE position.
Okay, so you would go ahead and hire, so she would be out then, but,
Well, unless she applied.
well, right.
Yeah, she applied for the
Right.
position and was the most qualified.
Right,
candidate,
so you would
yeah.
go ahead and look to hire full-time for the rec/office person, and full-time for this
Yeah.
position.
Yeah, ideally that we'd hire 2, both
Okay.
start April 1st. Whirlwind training to get them ready to go before the summer months.
Right.
And go from there. I mean, it's gonna be a little bit of a whirlwind anyway with the after-school coordinator position. Just, April gets busy in our department. They're gonna be busy kind of we wanna hit our staff up for college students by the end of May, ideally, that we have our LTE staff for that program. we start registrations on February 15th, so we should have a pretty good idea where our registration numbers are by the time that person starts in April. And if we need to do any more like heavy marketing of signing up for the after-school program. I'm anticipating that it'll fill up relatively quick,
Mhm.
you know, in February, and
Yeah.
it will be full. That's my assumption.
Okay. Then I think one last question for you, and then I wanted to ask Mark a question or two. So you had proposed an $18 an hour salary. We're looking at an alternative of $16 an hour. I guess from my understanding of what some of the other staff are paid, they may be near that same pay range, but they've either been there for a number of years,
Yeah.
or they have more duties, such as the deputy clerk, or both. So, I guess it might give you a chance to make a pitch for why you proposed 18 and would 16, would you,
I think
It's
based
currently-
on
Currently, they make 14,
oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
16 or something.
some, correct. Yeah, I think that the attraction of staff that might have experience in digital marketing, publication, website development, sponsorship, attraction. There are some duties that, if they have a little bit higher skill set, that they can bring to the table when it comes to how we update the website, how we produce correspondence for marketing. If they have some of those skill sets along with the general administrative assistant functions, I think is very valuable for us. It takes the less time that Missy is updating the website or working on email blasts that go out with our specialized system. There's a fair amount of computer work involved that could be at a little bit of a higher level. And of course, I'm always going to advocate for a little bit of a higher wage if possible, only for the fact of when you start low, we don't have steps. So if we had a
Right.
step system that would get a rock star employee up sooner, great. But this is a way that I think we can attract a candidate that's going to stick around for a while and is going to have some skill sets built in as they come in. Not to say that we won't get that at $16 an hour. I just think it opens up our pool, given what we're facing as far as competition, not only in Dane County, but statewide.
Yeah, that makes some sense. I guess maybe one thought would be to authorize a salary between $16 and $18 an hour. And if you find somebody as you just described, then could hire them at the higher
Absolutely.
salary. But if you don't, then
Right.
and post it that way that it's
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, I'd be absolutely fine with that. I think that's having a range is great and seeing what we get.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the customer service aspect of it, about being kind of the initial face of the department and greeting people and telephone skills that are extremely important. But then there's also that, how fast can you crank through, we need 6 flyers put together, an email sent out, and you need to proof the newsletter articles because Jake's grammar is terrible.
okay.
Did you have something for Mark?
Yeah, so I guess I'm with thinking about the 2019 budget.
Sure.
We've already approved. We've approved hiring of the firefighter for, was that April 1st also?
Correct.
And then June 30th or July 1st, I think, for the dispatch position.
Right.
So in 2019, though, we're gonna have to pay those for the whole year. So I don't remember what that would be right off the top of my head. I think the two for the full year would be about 150. So
Yeah.
maybe it would be we're gonna be 50,000
I'd say around
50,000 or so short.
Yeah.
And then adding this, whichever one we did, my concern is that we're gonna be squeezed against the levy limit or not.
Yeah, this year is probably gonna be the one exception, because we are closing TIF 2 this year. So I haven't actually, I'll find out for the next meeting. I've been trying to figure out exactly from Gary Becker when it actually comes online, because because Renew in Monona is kind of throwing it off a little bit. We have to wait an extra year to get the increment. But if we get that increment, added onto the levy, that's over 300 some thousand alone, just from the TIF closing. So there is that little bit of a, opening for us. Otherwise, if we have to wait another year for that, it will be really tight. It'll be up against the levy fairly quick. Otherwise, if we don't have that TIF 2 closing coming in. So I need to actually figure that out here, with Gary.
Can you have that for us by the next?
Yeah, I can have it by the next meeting. I should have
Okay.
it this
Yeah.
week.
Would that be good?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you get the TIF 2 closing, and like I said, I think it's 300, I think, I'm gonna round it, I think it was like 350 is the number we'll be able to increase
Okay.
it, the one
But
time.
The year that we extended it is.
This
20
year, actually.
Is 2018.
Yeah,
So
but we can't
otherwise-
close until December, so I don't know how it works with the timing of when we close it in December, if they, because the levy limits are out before that, so
Right.
that's why I won't, that's the only thing, the close date is December, I don't know, 6th or 13th or something like that. So I don't know how the state works with that, because I gotta start filling the paperwork after April 1st, I can file for the closing, so.
But is the levy limit a dollar amount, or is it?
It's a percentage of what the equalized value is, and I kind of did the analysis of what it would be roughly. It was right around 325 to 350 now, I think, so I think it was on the higher end, so I think it was around 350. Just based on what I know how what we get out of it, what percentage, so. Then we'll get her on top of that, we'll get a regular increase,
Right, yeah.
so.
Okay. When do we have to report that to the state?
After April, we've already sent a notice that we'll be closing, that's how.
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't clear on that. When do you have to report your budget amount? I assume you have to report that to the state to show them that we complied with the levy limit? law?
Yeah, that would have to be, well, they'll give us a number, what the number will be, so they'll tell me what that number is, so that's usually around September, I believe.
Right, but when don't we have to tell them whether we?
Yeah,
did or
as of
not?
December 15th, is due by
Yeah.
December 15th, so.
Okay, so.
If it's delayed a
depending
year,
on the
there's,
date, yeah, it could work.
yeah, and there's strategies if we want to do it
Yeah.
extra with how we do the debt service, now it's recorded, that we could float it for that 1 year until we actually get it, but so.
Do we have to extend it for a full year, or could we do it for like 11 months?
The,
Or did we already,
It's
I mean,
done, isn't it?
we already did it, I guess.
yeah, so it's done for a full year, yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, if you could.
I'll have that for, yeah.
Yeah, clarify that for the next meeting, that'd be great.
So should we, I guess we've never had a motion, should we just table this till next time till we
Yeah.
have the numbers from Mark?
Let's do that. I move the table.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
All right,
Opposed? All right, thank you, Jake.
don't we have another one for him?
We do have another one, item 6B, consideration of resolution
When we get that money.
18-1-2233, approving a facility use agreement with Monona Swim and Dive Club for the 2018 All-City Swim Meet.
Well,
Is
our
there a
ci-
motion to approve this?
Oh, so moved.
I'll second.
City attorney's here, he'll still need to review this document
Okay.
and mark it up the way that only Attorney Cole can. But what we have is a separate agreement from our normal rental of the outdoor pool from Monona Swim and Dive. Every 12 years, they host the All-City Swim Meet, which is, I think, like the 5th largest outdoor swim meet in the world, or something to that effect, with the amount of teams that will be coming in. And so, towards the end of July 27, about 8 days straight, the Swim and Dive Club will be kind of taking over the pool, the community center, and Winnequa Park. And so the facility use agreement covers what their expectations are, what their reservations are for, and this has been discussed and approved upon by city staff, our aquatics director, and members of the Swim and Dive Club. The fees that were associated with the agreement were based on what our opportunity costs were for not being open at the outdoor pool, not having certain park shelters available for rental, community center rental, staff cost, etc. During the operating budget, I had put in a $13,000 line item based on what our expectations were on probably what our perceived losses would be, or opportunities to not gain revenue would be. During the course of the final facility use agreement, the Swim and Dive Club requested that that fee be $10,000 and not $13,000. They are trying to raise a significant amount of money to not only run this meet, but also serve as a fundraiser for their club that moves, basically this is their one chance at a mega fundraiser that will last them kind of the next 12 years. The park board took that into consideration, noting that some of our expected revenues were speculative based on weather. So for example, we're open roughly, let's just say 100 days a year. It's closer to 90, but 100 days a year, we have $60,000 in daily sales that we're to bring in, so $600 a day. And so that was the number we used, $600 a day times 8 days, $4,800. Well, if the weather's poor, we're not gonna, bring in that per month. The expenses may or may not reach that additional threshold we might need for toilet paper, paper towels, and we'll see a little bit of a decrease in our staff costs. So we won't have as many lifeguards as we would normally have. We're not going to have any tickets or concession attendants working. So we'll see a little bit of a decrease in what our staff costs would be over the course of a normal week. So what they proposed instead was that we would approve a $10,000 financial fee to the city for the use of all these facilities, but receive advertising and sponsorships in the amount of that $3,000. So the Swim and Dive Club is looking at having a digital monitor up at the pool, running ads for certain businesses, et cetera, and that whatever their $3,000 sponsorship line item would be, that is what we would get in lieu of that $3,000 payment.
And Attorney Cole still has to review this?
He needs to review it, yeah, and mark it up.
So what are you asking us for?
This would just be first reading for discussions and
Okay.
if there's any questions. So it's got 2 readings on it.
Okay.
Well, we could, we could approve it here to move it on to council and then
Sure.
have 2 readings at council, but not,
I would say the $6,000 just based on when the timing, just from doing all the July 22nd to the July 30th. That $600 per day in revenue is probably pretty high because usually by then we'll have seasons pass. The majority of people have gone by season passes and it's usually a little bit less than 600. So I think we're probably, based on the 600, it's probably, for our end, it's probably a good number.
Yeah.
But I think we should be okay with that.
I mean, I think I put in the notes about, we could do an operating budget amendment, but I don't think we really need to. The pool floats
Right.
up and down anyway. We may be above that $3,000 rental line item somewhere else, or we may be way under everywhere else too, depending on what, happens with the weather.
Right.
I don't anticipate our season pass sales being impacted by
Right, and that's,
being closed for a week. They're gonna be able to go swimming at any of the other private pools that are in this all-city league. Where we do get hit is the private pool rentals on the weekends, the birthday party rentals that can happen during open swim, the daily revenue if it's like a crazy hot day, and then, the shelter. Now, this doesn't take in any cost that any other city departments might incur. I mean, there's, a significant amount of coordination between police department, fire. We can anticipate there's gonna be parking issues when we bring this many people in. Now, I don't think that's time that the police department would bill for, that they're asking for additional police presence per se. But if there was anything else from any other departments that would be required, that would be on a time and materials. But this
And
covers all of our costs.
The
for our
Swim and
department.
Dive Club understands that?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
yeah, just a couple things. So one, I guess, I think the agreement needs to be amended, I think, to include a provision explicitly allowing for the promotional uses that you've referred to. I didn't see anything in there.
Correct. Yeah, we've not
So
updated
that would need to be added, and I would think it should cover not just park programs, but basically any city programs or anything related
Absolutely.
to the city that we want to promote.
Yeah, the radio station or
Yeah.
library events or Senior center event, yeah,
Yeah.
I think we'd have to determine what those marketing opportunities are within the event, but obviously, we're bringing thousands and thousands of people into our community. Any way that we can showcase what we have in the city or
Right.
try to attract more people to, move here is a good opportunity. I think we'll do that anyway, in any way we can.
Right.
Um,
Do we charge, or what do we charge other organizations, for example, the Fourth of July Festival Committee for renting Winnequa Park?
$0 for the 4th of July
The answer-
festival.
But although, at least when, in good years in the past, we have gotten donations back from them.
It's been a
Not to
while.
the
Been a
Parks
while.
and Rec Department, but yeah, there's been
Well,
other
right.
departments that have received donations. It's probably been 5 years, I think, since
Right.
Public Works received some safety supplies.
Fire has
Not since
Or
I've been
fire.
there anyway.
Fire's
Yeah.
got some stuff.
Yeah.
Since I've been here, fire.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
all three of them.
And that's gonna be probably, I guess, would be, when we finish this special event application and look at fees, existing events that have traditionally been fee waivered are gonna be brought up into the same standard, I think, as every other group with those hard costs that we, have as a city, whether it's additional police and fire time, whether it's, the time that we spend setting up the park, et cetera. Those are all gonna be at least options for the council to review
Right.
on whether to include or not.
Well,
Um,
I think anytime we give a private group exclusive use of city facilities, that means that just the residents can't use them.
Right, correct.
So, yeah,
And last time we did this event in 2006, the fee was $1,200 for the Swim and Dive Club. Middleton hosted in 2013. They are the only other public pool that has a club swim team utilizing it, and they charged $11,000
yeah. So we're,
for, similar type. So all the other clubs in this league are private, pools, except for Middleton, Goodman, and Monona. And I don't think Goodman has hosted in all cities. The last comparable one would be Middleton.
yeah. So we're in that same ballpark.
We're in that same ballpark, and I'm comfortable with either number. I mean, the event's happening, regardless, I think, of what number we put them at. I think it's more of, are they gonna be able to afford it? That amount versus everything else that they're trying to raise. So,
Right.
and are we in line with, traditionally what's
Yeah.
being charged?
I think either amount would probably be, you could justify it
Yeah.
relative to 11,000 from
Yeah.
last year, but, I guess I'm okay with, well, no, we already did have a motion.
We did have
Yeah.
a motion, so,
Yeah, going along with the park board recommendation, just do it at 10,000. I don't know what you think.
okay, that's fine with me, and we'll, like you said, we'll have a chance to review it twice at
Yeah,
council, so. Okay, anything else?
nope,
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Motion passes. Item 6C, consideration of ordinance 1-18-694, amending chapters of the Code of Ordinances and fees, fines, and penalties schedule.
I'll move approval.
I'll second. This looks pretty self-explanatory, April, is that?
Sure, or I can run through it if you wish, or just answer questions.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
No, well, my understanding is Alder Holmquist has indicated it's not a problem, or has not indicated it would be a problem.
He said he didn't see any questions about
Right.
anything
I
in
guess
his
that-
email to us.
Yeah, I guess he won't be here tonight for council either, or
I
anyway.
don't think so. Didn't see anything.
I would say that the only thing that would be, just, it's a pretty easy change in the ordinance, but, any kind of considerations would be bumping the city council meeting a little bit earlier to 7:00. And I did find, Joan had done a survey of city clerks, and 91 of them, which is an incredible number, and 36 other communities start at 7:00. 25 start at 6:30, and only 6 start at 7:30 or later. Of course, it affects finance and personnel a little bit.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
so
And I
that's
just,
the only thing I really consider like a decision. The rest is clarifications and just, taking out a couple redundancies we found or
right,
things that
yeah.
just
No, the rest of it's fine. That's, I
Yeah.
just, and I'd be fine with moving it up, but.
And again,
you
it's
know,
first read at council tonight,
Right,
so
yeah,
before
so,
the next one. you
yeah.
can-
So, I'm okay with moving it along.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 6D, convene in closed session under Wisconsin statute, section 19.85, paren 1, paren G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. This involves a claim of the Rodney J. Scheib Revocable Trust. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second, I assume we need a roll
Yes.
call for this.
Alderwood,
Aye.
Mayor O'Connor.
Aye. Closed session, and we have an envelope.
Yep. Hey,
We are reconvening.
He was at staff.
Item 6F, consideration of claim of Rodney J. Scheib Revocable Trust. Is there a motion?
I'll move to deny the claim.
I will second that. Any discussion?
No.
No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Claim is denied. Item 7, acceptance of general fund accounts payable checks dated December 29th, 2017 through July 11th, 2018. Documentation of invoices paid is available in the city clerk's office. Mr. Hautaker.
Yeah, just a couple things here. Not a lot of stuff going, but I believe yours is page 20. Page 20, Madison Metro Sewage District. That's our annual fee for the Yahara watershed plan. A little further down is our annual fee for the Purple Cow that we have.
What's the Monona self-storage?
So we have, it's actually
That's
Jake's. It's a
Jake's.
rental storage event place for the special event and stuff.
So we have that all year round, is that the, okay. Is
Page
that more
21.
than that? Okay.
Page 20, accurate appraisal. I just want to hit on that because I believe that the walkthroughs are going on right now. So that's the fees. Page 22, the very last one, Simone, that's a relocation fee related to the waterfront TIF. And page 24, just so you know, UBS Financial Services, link of service, that's for the fire departments. That's money we budget every year for there's contributions for more or less their retirement portion that they put into. That's all I have.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the bills?
I just had one question kind of jumped out that on page, I guess there's actually a couple of tax overpayments. One of them is on page 21, where it looks like, well, this one of them is $3,956 and another is 5,000 something.
Yeah, so what happens a lot of times, I believe these are two of them. So sometimes there's two things that happens. The owner wants to make sure their tax bill got paid by December 31st, because our system, they want to make sure it's marked in their system, it has to be in their hand.
Yeah,
So they'll pay it, and then the bank will end up paying it, the mortgage company will send a check,
yeah.
and it usually gets here like first couple days of January. So we just reimburse them for that. So they want to make sure it gets paid, and they got documented that it's paid by December 31st. So every once in a while, we'll get like 4 or 5 of those per year.
So it got double paid.
Well, they get reimbursed.
Yeah,
they-
They want to make sure, because a lot of times the mortgage companies say they sent their checks to us, And we don't, a lot of times we don't get them to early January.
Yeah.
So they just want to make sure it's paid.
Yeah,
We'll just reimburse them.
okay. I'll move acceptance of the accounts payable checks.
Second, anything else?
Nope,
All in favor of paying the bills, say aye.
I,
Opposed? I'll say aye also. Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move adjournment.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.